Julian is here with you for another round, another session of Me versus Life. In fact, this is round 3. It is Wednesday. I'm never aware of the date, but I'll check it out. Oh, God, and it still says I'm working out, which is not true. Bear with me while I set this thing. Fitbit's going to go ape, man. You know, I've been here for a 2-hour workout. July 25th, 2018, and again, round 3 of Me versus the World, which started out very stellar with me forgetting to stop my workout routine and yammering on about that now. But look, as I said last week, we're going to go over some things that worked for me last week and some things that didn't. We'll start out with this video thing that's going on here. I did do a recording last week, and it looks like I also may possibly have some video. Hi, by the way. I know this is rather a letdown after psyching yourself up to see a handsome prince, but what are you going to do? I did do a recording last week, and I did publish my first one. So as of now, there's a 2-week lag. I'm going to reduce that down to 1 very shortly. Fitness-wise, my mile pace improved by 47 seconds over the previous, and then as of yesterday, has improved by a further 9 seconds. So it looks like my notes are a little bit behind my actual life, and I will fix that in the future. According to the tape, I lost 2% body fat, and that means there's only like 1 million more to go. So that we will call that progress for what it's worth. Justin the Monster Truck, by the way, couldn't make it today because he managed to find himself some poison ivy out there. So I was left to blow out the biceps all on my lonesome, which I promptly did. Those curls are up 10 pounds over a week ago, and I failed out again today. So onward and upward. So pretty much that's what worked. What didn't? Well, long story short is that last week was kind of a week from hell because, and entirely because, my entire organizational system sort of broke down. And what do I mean by that? I'll go ahead and put out there that I'm not the most together guy in the world. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this, to hold me to a higher system of accountability. I am what you would call attention challenged. I am a true ADD or ADHD case, you know, whatever that might be. I can't keep up with the acronyms anymore. They've renamed them a few times since I was diagnosed back in the early 90s with attention deficit disorder. And I found out over the last, I don't know, week and a half, 2 weeks, that there is a whole lot of interest in that. So in the off chance that someone suffering from this condition does tune in one of these days, I feel your pain. I feel your pain. It sucks. And what happened last week is I fell completely off the wagon. And I don't say that as an excuse. It's not an excuse. I am holding myself to the same standards as anyone else out in the workforce and home life, trying to be a dad, trying to be all these things. But it was a challenging week. And while ADD is very much overdiagnosed today, it wasn't when I was a kid, and I can guarantee you that I exhibit each and every one of the symptoms that are used in whatever the diagnostic tool is to come up with this diagnosis. I suffer from every one of them. I mean, I am a scatterbrained mental explosion, as I kind of like to call it. Some examples: I lost my wallet twice last week. I also lost various other things that made life pretty inconvenient at the time. But those escaped my attention. I'm sure keys were one of them, because keys are always, always, always one of those things. And that made me realize that there's something about getting my goals out here. That system breakdown actually made me realize that there's something about getting my goals out here that actually pressures me to do that much better, because I can put it out there now and say, yeah, I severely failed, and I gotta do something about that in the future. But one thing that I have come to accept is that ADD, you're going to fall off the wagon. Those things are going to happen. It's really inevitable. And as much as I hate to admit it, and I hate to say this because I have been heavy into being a disciplined kind of guy, I kind of think it's inevitable that you lose your system, you lose your place. I mean, let's face it, folks. I mean, it's a mental thing, and my prefrontal cortex doesn't work. I get it. I'm not making excuses again for myself, but what can I do about that? Well, the thing I can do a little bit better than I have in the past, and I'm getting better as time goes on, is to actually do better at making those falls off of the wagon a little less frequent, and when they happen, a little less lengthy. Staying on the ground a little less time. Getting back up on that horse and going as soon as humanly possible. If I can start doing that a little bit better, I think that would benefit me and my family and my workplace and everyone who has the misfortune of being around me whenever I am in one of those zones a little bit better. So what else didn't work last week? I made my goals way too vague, and I'm going to fix that today, which is why this is probably going to run a little long. I already feel like I'm rambling, so I'll just get on with it. What are my goals? And I'll start with the big ones. The first one being, and the most important one being, my own health. To make a long story short, I want to stop being the fat slob that you see here before you today. And I want to get back into some form of fighting shape, so that I can do the things that need to be done around here, which I'll get to in a minute. I'll scratch the surface here in a minute. I need to be able to do those things and do them a little more easily than I do now. Well, Justin the Monster Truck, he's helping me a lot in that area by just pushing me. This project is pushing me because, you better believe I don't want to look like this, forever as I sit here and record these things, if for nothing else, for your sake. The business. Well, no, let's start with the farm, actually. The other big goal, aside from my health, and this one is more for my family, is for the farm to start paying for itself financially, meaning covering all of those egregious taxes that we have here. And actually, if it could start making a little money for myself and my family, I consider that a bonus. But that consists of basically growing things that this climate will support and selling those. Off the top of my head, that's more saving money than it is making it. But that is kind of what I had in mind when I started this whole venture out here on this homestead, was for the farm to save us money and the side business that I'm working on right now to make it. So hopefully we'll meet in the middle somewhere, and I will be able to sustain myself and my family with these projects I have going on. So that's big goal number 2. Number 3, well, I just said number 3. I didn't read ahead. Looks like the third goal I have for you today is the business. It looks like I put 2 into 1. So let's back up. Say number 3 is for the business to support myself and my family, and that's pretty much straightforward. As I said, I want to meet in the middle. I want to live cheaply. Let's call it frugally, less expensively. And I want to make enough to cover my bills and, excuse me, put aside a little nest egg. And so in order to do all of that stuff, it requires that we break those big problems down into smaller ones. And so that's what I'm going to go into here. And this is something you're going to hear for, the upcoming, whatever these are, in round 4, you'll hear this same go round. What are my goals for this next week? Well, first off, let's start with this recording. I'm recording on a Wednesday, and I'm putting out the previous week's recording out the following day. So I'm doing that so that I can not have so much to do in a day. I couldn't for the life of me manage to get this onto video, edit the audio and all that jazz, and then put it out there for everyone to see in a day. So I'm going to continue on this recording on the weekly schedule that I have established for myself. And in addition to that, I plan on, since as you can see, I'm relying on sunlight today, and that's not too ideal. The camera probably will look good. I don't know. The tests look pretty decent, but I'm going to try and find between now and next week some way to light myself and light this area a little bit better. Maybe a backdrop, because the wife is extremely upset with me allowing you to see the mess that's behind me. And believe me when I tell you that it's even worse than it looks like over here. I'm hiding a lot of sins with this camera angle. So we may work on that, but not for next week. The next week's goal is to light my ugly face in a little more flattering manner and make the picture a little bit less of a pain to watch, a little less dark. I don't know, whatever the lighting winds up supporting. And I have no idea how I'm going to do that yet. So also, if things go well and the wife has helped me here, I'm going to try and start a clean eating program, which involves, as Justin the Monster Truck was telling me, eating colors. Eat all the colors I can stuff in my face. If it's a vegetable or a fruit and it's a different color than the last one I ate, stuff it in my gullet and go about that, man. And that's a big change from lots of meat and lots of fat, but that's going to be probably the next phase of things. So this next week, that's also the plan. I'm going to try, and it looks like I took a look at the seasons, the growing seasons out here, and I'm moving on from myself to the actual land, the farm project. The thing to do for that next week is to start preparing the land for broccoli, nom nom, and cabbage. Broccoli and cabbage going in the dirt. I'm hoping in August, but we're going to have to see how that works. I think I'm a little bit late in planning this stuff, and I have zero pest control that so they may be eaten alive. I don't know. We're going to try and prep the land for that. I want to make, there's an application that I'm coding on right now, and it's one of the major projects on the business. So I've moved on to Area 3 for the business. The next goal is to make some headway on my safety plan, which is an application I'm doing for Mark Morgan Designs. Shout out to Mark. He's a great client, and he's been very patient with me. So I'm going to jump on the production wagon there and try and get the login module working correctly, because I'm trying to interface that thing with WordPress, and I would love some pointers from anybody that may have an idea on how to accomplish that. Although I'm the only one that listens, so, brain, get to work on it. Those are the 3, or rather 4 goals that I have for next week. The first one being very meta. So we're going to see how this rolls. And guys, all I know is to tell you is we're starting round 4, and wish me luck, those of you that got this far. And I'll talk to everyone next week. Thank you for listening, if you have been, and see you later. Sync out.